Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Average Superstar TV. I am your host, Lauren Lepre. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. And this week's episode is definitely a unique one. I'm all about everybody knows I'm film, I'm music, spirituality. I've covered Bigfoot, but this one, I met this guy over the weekend at the Monster Mania convention, and I just thought this was a cool story for everybody to know. This guy runs a Halloween store up in the Levittown area, which is Bucks County, right outside of Philadelphia. The store is called Scrae-Pros Halloween Horror. So I'm going to say that again, Scrae-Pros Halloween Horror. The text will be right here on the final cut. But with that, I'm going to bring on the guy here, our guest, Chris Sembrot, who runs this store. And this guy's got, you already can see in the background, he's got a lot of cool stuff. I think this is a cool story. I want to hear why this guy wanted to even make a store and what it's like day to day, almost like Clerks. We're just going in a different direction. So, Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Chris. So, oh wow, look at that. Look at you. I'm seeing Judith Myers, the grave in the back, and you got Annabelle. I see Michael Myers in the far corner. I see two Art the Clowns. That clown seems to be everywhere these days. Right. Damn you, Damien. But Chris, how long has this store been there?
So this year it starts my 30th year.
30th?
30th, yes.
So you actually had the store there for 30 years?
I started doing Halloween in '94 and started doing it under the name Scrae-Pros in '98. Launched the website in 2000. Built another building to move the store into the same year, right, 2001. And been here ever since.
Wow, brother, that's crazy. I did not think you were there for 30 years. Wow.
I hear that a lot.
So 30, you're going back. This is 93 when there's not even an internet, and you treaded water that long.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. Like the way what really launched it was the website itself launched right at the end of '99, and at that time there really wasn't any. There wasn't any stores that were just focused on adult Halloween costumes. You know what I mean? Like everybody was doing kids costumes and that sort of thing. And, I wanted to take a different route. So I started focusing on adult costumes. And by that, I mean like sexy costumes, funny costumes, like costumes that we would wear out to Halloween parties. And if you think like going back 23 years or whatever, that wasn't a common focus. You know what I mean? It wasn't really a big deal then yet. So, but I figured I'd carve out a little niche there for myself. And, I jumped on, threw the site up, I was number one on Google and Yahoo, if you remember when Yahoo actually had a search engine, and AOL and Hotbot and Lycos and all those, those ones that were big back then. And if you just you went on the internet and you typed in adult Halloween costumes, my site would come up number one, and that's how it kind of got started. And took it from there. Like do you remember? You remember that show, The Girls Next Door?
Yes.
Remember that one with the girls from Playboy? That was probably the real beginning of when the site took off, because when that line came out, those costumes were $75, $150, $200. That's a lot of money. Even now, that's a lot of money for a costume, but that was huge. That long ago, that was a lot of money, and a lot of stores they didn't want to risk it on that one. But I was like, you know what? If I'm going to call myself an adult Halloween store, this is right up my alley. So I made the connections there. I started bringing the stuff in, and next thing you know, I was outselling Party City. I was outselling the Playboy website themselves. It got to the point where I was going to the manufacturer and just like, Give me everything you got. Every day I call them up. I'll take your entire supply. I don't care what sizes they are. I don't care what models they are. Give me everything. And it just took off from there. I mean, that paid for the building to be built, and it just made everything. Everything you're looking at started from Playboy.
What a planet, dude. I dig it. So, wow. So then you went about how many years before you actually opened up this physical store in Levittown?
The store here, it was in the building next door to me from 94 until 2001. 2001, this building that I'm in now, which is like literally right next door, was built, and I've been in this building ever since.
That's dude, brother. That's so cool. So, I mean, how do you have you had like some like obviously celebrities and like people from like movie culture? Have they like contacted you? Like, do
you know, with it being a year-round costume store, we've gotten contacted by it's a long list of everywhere in between. Like we've supplied things for the White House for parades. I mean, we've supplied things for Saturday Night Live, like all the local TV networks. Yeah, I guess year round supplies were limited, and we're just one of the people that are there to fill that need.
Yeah. So, all right. So stay right there. So Saturday Night Live. I'm obviously that set design and all that. So they obviously are a week-to-week show. So if they get an idea, do they even want you to ship it, or do they send someone right to your doorstep? Like it's got to be now.
Typically, the way these guys work, like you get a call and they won't necessarily tell you who it's for or what it's for. You just get a call and they say, like, in the most recent one, they called us up and they said, "Hey, do you happen to have a Gritty costume in stock? You know, Gritty, the mascot for the Flyers." Right?
Of course we do. We're all local.
Of course we do, right? So I'm like, yeah, of course I do. And they said, all right, well, if I send somebody down from New York to pick it up tomorrow, are you going to be there? And I'm automatically, I'm like, all right, I see where this is going. And I look and call and I see who it is, and I said, hold up, I got to cut you off right there. If you're going to make Gritty look stupid, I said, I don't have any in stock. So they're like, no, we're not going to make him look stupid this time. So they sent him down. The next day, they picked up Gritty, and that night it was on the air. They did that. Did you see the episode where they did the spoof on Mayor of Easttown, where they did the whole murder dirter thing that was kind of all over the place?
I'm so bad with pop culture, like being a film guy. The most I see about anything is like a clip that hits YouTube. That's kind of it. How I watch anything. Yellowstone's the only show I have to see, or the planet ends. That's it. So obviously for Saturday Night Live, but they got to get clearance through the Flyers to be allowed to use that because it's technically property.
I don't know, man. I don't ask any questions. They call me up and they ask to use the costume, and
yeah. So I know you're involved with conventions and stuff. That's why I said I just met you over the weekend. One thing I notice about these people, and I kind of got to figure you got the right info with all this, but when you see a lot of those vendors, I always wonder, are they in the clear to sell what they're making? Like you know what I mean? Like, as far as intellectual property, like there's all this Jason stuff and Freddie and Michael, and I get you. I without a doubt have to be licensed on that because you are absolutely making profit on publicly owned character. So, is there a lot of gray area to get that done?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, I got to tread lightly because a lot of those vendors are friends of mine.
Okay.
For years, but a lot of the stuff you see at those conventions, they aren't necessarily licensed.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going through the right channels. It's a lot of they're being crafty.
Their work's amazing. I just could tell by who some of these people are. I'm like, I don't think they're licensed to actually have this though.
And I can't play those games, because I get reps from every brand that actually owns these licenses. they come in my shop. You know, I could get studio executives in here. You never know. Sometimes they even spot check you, so I can't play with those games. But
Yeah.
you know, I still when I walk around those conventions, yeah, I'd say I bet you 90% of the stuff there, yeah, it's you know.
So let me state it is a two-part question here. So you said they actually come and they spot check you to make sure you're on the grid with everything, right? In the store?
I mean, they're not necessarily. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, so I have that trust with them already. They're not necessarily checking to make sure I'm selling anything illegal, but you know, when they're in the store, you know, they come by and visit. Of course, their eyes are going to look around and they want to just make sure that, you know, you're not selling anything you shouldn't be selling.
Do you think, because I remember when conventions started getting hot, that there was actually vendors that didn't have an LLC, and the last minute at some of these conventions, they'd be like, "You have to show that you're on the grid, or you can't even vend." I've been to a couple of them where all of a sudden, like 1/4 of the vendors didn't show up, because like professional wise, because they didn't have they weren't on the grid. So, do you think? I don't know if this may have happened. Maybe you've heard, but has there ever been like, here comes New Line Cinema to a convention and going around to each table, be like that Friday the 13th right there? Like, let me see what you got. I want to see your papers.
Yep. Oh, it happens. It does happen.
Yeah. Is it happening a lot? I mean, are they catching on because conventions seem to keep growing across the world? I
got to be honest, like I don't know the answer to that, because the conventions that I typically go to, these are more industry conventions where, you know, it's retailers and we're buying direct from manufacturers. So it's never a question if the stuff is actually licensed or not. You know what I mean? Like,
gotcha.
Everybody's on the level. Now, the local conventions that you see, you know, I don't go there to buy merchandise, so I'm not there checking papers, but you know, but I can definitely tell when I see some things, like I can spot a knockoff from a mile away, and you know.
Yeah.
Keep my mouth shut. They're friends, you know.
Gotcha. And when before you even got into these stores, were you like a big horror fan? Were you a big fan of Halloween itself? Like, what was your thing?
For me, you know, we were that house on the street on Halloween night. You know, the one that just decorated like crazy, and I mean, we took it to the extent of decorating the entire inside of the house. You know, like, we would bring people in, they'd walk through the whole house, and you know, when all the other kids in the neighborhood were out trick-or-treating, you know, I'm the 5-year-old sitting there laying in the coffin, popping up like this, scaring people when they come in. So that's where it started for me, you know. So it was in my blood from a long time. And I actually still have that coffin, too, that I laid in, you know, 45 years ago.
Do you still decorate your house like that anymore, or is it just too much with the store these days?
I wish I had more time. You know, the store's so busy that time of year that, you know, if you saw the decorations in front of my house, it's pathetic. We got like a bale of hay and a scarecrow. You know, there's not, and that's just because my wife's out there decorating, because I'm working 7 days a week.
Wow, crazy. So yeah, so I mean, so you get the newest products in, like right off the, you know. When you say toys, I don't know all the names. Like, I remember 30 years ago, like the McFarlane line for stuff that I don't even know if they're doing stuff anymore. But are you like one of the direct people that gets all that first?
Yeah, I mean, we buy from. I mean, geez, we're a little over 200 vendors now that I buy from, and yeah, I mean, pretty much you name it, any name brand, any line, I'm gonna have it.
Gotcha. And I see, is there anything new going on that's about to arrive, or anything? Anything you want to plug that's coming up?
Well, I mean, let's see. That's coming up. I mean, we carry the entire Trick or Treat Studios line, you know, and I know a lot of collectors follow that line, but yeah, we carry the whole thing. So, a lot of that stuff, you know, it's kind of Halloween centric, so usually doesn't show up till July, August, September. You know, as far as our own projects, like we do a little licensing here and there for our own exclusives. So some of the projects that we have, like you might have seen, like the Art the Clown, the Daisy glasses at the convention that everybody's running.
We saw a lot everywhere I looked. There was the clown, and
Yeah.
so
It was
yeah,
like a Terrifier takeover out there, right? But so
yeah.
we got those glasses. That's one of the things we have here in our store. You might see this big old cardboard art back there, that big old standee. That's something that we carry here. Some projects that we're working on that I can't show you pictures just yet, but we have a Christmas ornament that's going to be coming out. Also, Art the Clown. We got we may or may not have a big old plush doll coming out.
All right. Would you say in the last, especially obviously since it came out in October, which I had a small hand in as the DJ in that movie, but is Art the Clown kind of like the hot topic where you're at now, or close to one of the top?
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, of course, Scream, because that movie just dropped. But, but Art the Clown's been pretty hot here for a while. Like I think we kind of just sit. I mean, we sit right in this little area here where we're kind of. It's like Terrifier Central, because everything was filmed all around us. The actors live around here,
Yeah.
Like we're in the hot zone. But yeah, I mean, it's popular, man. I mean, I would say this last Halloween, we probably, like Art the Clown T-shirts and any merchandise was no doubt like far and above anything else. Like first year ever that something passed Michael Myers in sales. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But yeah. Huge.
So in sales, Art beat Michael Myers, beat the legend, had his own game, huh?
And I think part of that was because I mean, I'm a fan, you know what I mean? So I'm going to stock pretty much everything. But the the other Halloween stores or the department stores, they didn't have any Terrifier merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so anybody who was into Terrifier, they were driving 2 hours to come here to get stuff. They knew I had it.
Do you get people that contact you at the store and be like, "Do you have that? Could you put it aside? I'm driving so many hours right now."
Probably 20 times a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you? I'm just out of curiosity. I'm sure there's a lot. I'm sure like 8 out of 10 come right and do it. But I mean, do you get the people that just never come? So like, do you really hold it for them without them putting some sort of money down on it?
I mean, we kind of do things old school here. Yeah. So like, we'll post things like, for example, on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We'll say, hey, this is coming in about 2 weeks, and you'll see a lot of our customers, we build up that relationship where they'll just chime right in on the thread. Hold me one. Hold me one, and then the day that they show up, we just send out a little blast to everybody who is interested. Hey, these things are here, and I'd say probably 80% will come within the next few days. You're always going to have flakes, you know what I mean? But for the most part, they show up, and if they don't, no big deal. We put it out on the floor, and it'll be gone in a couple of days anyway.
Nice. And I mean, have you ever had any guests actually come through there, like any horror movie icons? Have you got to that point yet, having them at the store?
Yeah. I mean, in this past year, we have actually Lauren Lavera, Sienna from Terrifier.
Yes.
She pops in every once in a while. She's awesome, by the way.
Yes, she is.
Which right? Danny Roebuck comes by every once in a while.
Yes.
Yep. Which I'm sure you know him as well.
Yep.
We get, athletes. You know what I mean?
Wow, really? Yeah, like that. Crazy.
Yeah. We've had if you follow hockey, we've had Bernie Parent here.
Everybody knows the Burn. He's probably the most beloved flyer of all time.
Yeah. Right behind my shop here, I can throw a stone and hit him as WBCB. That's Merrill Reese's radio station.
Okay.
Every once in a while, he'll pop in here.
You'll know in that voice. I think we all know that voice for sure. Crazy. Wow. So and
we're working on some things too. Like we're Mike and Jay Levy, how they're working on that stream project.
Yes, Buzz on the Lens, great guys.
Yep, awesome guys. So sometime before Halloween, we're gonna do a little thing here, a little promo for stream, and we're gonna have Danny out here as a meet and greet for the fans and get the word out about stream before it hits the big screen, hopefully.
Yep. Great guys, great hard workers. Mike's been on the show before.
Steve Barton, Steve Barton. He's
the great Uncle Creepy. Yes.
Yeah, man, that's our boy. He's you know, he'll be popping around here soon.
Sweet. That's awesome. Nick, right. So, are you looking at possibly expanding the store, or are you just you perfectly fine right where you're at,
You
and
know
that's
what?
enough?
I would love to be able to expand the store, but we are maxed out on space here.
Mhm.
I've used, not to bore you with the technical stuff, but we've used every bit of impervious land we're allowed to cover here. So we can't go one more square foot on this land, and I don't want to move because we just been here for so long that we're comfortable.
It's your headquarters. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can't see it here, but I mean, there's a lot here. It's a lot more than what you just see here behind me.
Yeah. And for anybody, because this is everywhere, where exactly is the place located that they could, and the hours they could come check it out?
So it's 8520 New Falls Road. That's in Levittown. So we're about a half an hour northeast of Philly, not far off of 95. Right now, I mean, we're in our off-season hours, which are pretty much like the UPS FedEx hours, pretty much just to receive shipments. But once we get a little closer to in season, like when we get into July, we start stretching it out later, and then from October and straight through Christmas. I don't know if you know, but we also have a Christmas store here. So, we'll stay busy right through Christmas, and usually till 9 o'clock at night.
So you are open daily, or it's every other day?
Yeah, open daily. Yeah, we're here year round.
Sweet.
We will close for about a week and a half or so right after Halloween. We'll close down because we switch the store over to Christmas, and we'll still keep all the horror collectibles and all that stuff out. We have a creepy Christmas area, if you will, where it's Krampus stuff and Nightmare Before Christmas and Grinch, and we actually have an 11-foot Krampus here in our store, which you probably don't see at too many Christmas stores.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yep.
So if anyone wanted to do a road trip, there you are. That's where to find you.
Where we are. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to drive a long way, and we get them, we usually tell people hold off until like first week of September or so, because that's when you're seeing us, when it's bursting at the seams and there's so much merchandise in here, it's hanging from the ceilings.
Absolutely.
Right now, we're probably, we're about, I don't know, half stocked or so. I mean, the horror merchandise, that stuff's always fully stocked year round, but as far as costumes and makeup and wigs and all that kind of stuff, that's all in production now. So that'll be here in another few months.
Well, it's very impressive what you're doing there, and obviously all of the United States. I mean, do you get a global audience too for the store?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we ship orders, everywhere, you name it.
Wow.
All over the world. Yeah.
That's freaking dude. That's freaking marvelous, dude. I think it's great too, like for your location, because a lot of people, I just wouldn't think like Levittown would be like the place where you feel like you could have a horror movie store and be surviving, and here you are 30 years later.
It's funny. Yeah, I mean, I've been hearing that my whole life. Like what? Levittown? What?
Yeah.
But hey, it works for us, man. I mean, they travel. I mean, I had a couple in here today from Baltimore. Yesterday, a couple drove down from Maine. They come.
Yeah, gotcha. And you have your own, again, you have your own website and your own social media pages for everybody to keep up with what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, our website, there's not much on it. Like, we try to keep that true brick and mortar flavor, like face-to-face sales. You know what I mean? Like I said, we ship a lot, but we don't want internet to be our bread and butter. Like, we like interacting with directly with the customers, and that's what makes us different.
Yeah, it's a lost trade these days because everything's just kind of online. Everybody's just pressing buttons and not communicating.
Yep. Yeah. And people are always like, "Hey, can I order? I want to order online." I was like, "Why don't you get in your car and come see us? You'll like it a little. You'll like it better."
Chris, this was I really enjoyed having you on the show here. I don't know if I know I kind of plugged where you're at and everything, but any way if people get a hold of you or anything you want to plug, feel free.
Oh man, well, I mean, you can find us, Facebook, Scrae-Pros Halloween and Horror. You can find us on Instagram. We're on Twitter, not too often. Don't even bother with Twitter.
Gotcha.
Check out our website, Scrae-Pros.com. You know, there's not like I said, there's not a ton on our website, and we like it that way.
Wait. All right. Well, with that, Chris, I'll thank you so much for stopping by. I will thank this audience once again for taking the time to check out Average Superstar TV. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. And with that, until next week, I will say again, the party is over.